biology. It's about life, and if we're talking about life, unfortunately we talk about the other end of that, which is the point at which life is not sustained. So this is a tolerance curve. So for this curve, yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, okay, fine. Better? Tolerance curve. Don't care. Tolerance curve. Now, if the organism that we're talking about, this is a nice wide zone, this everything is wonderful zone. What if we're talking about an organism for whom that green zone is a little bit narrower? When we compare that organism to the other one, who's got a better chance of doing well as conditions change? Yeah, that first one we looked at. If you've got a wider green zone, the zone of maximum happiness, the wider that zone is for you, the easier it is for you to do okay, to continue to thrive as the world around you changes. You're a little bit more flexible. And we're going to talk more about that concept in regard to a broader idea. But okay, so you remember a little bit about tolerance curves. You've got, whoops, this sort of tolerance curve. Let's say it's for temperature. So if this is temperature, and you've got your green happy place, when conditions end up outside of your green zone, what are your options?
Live or die.
Well, live or die, but I mean, you know, getting into the yellow zone. What are your options in terms of maintaining optimal body function? There are two things you can do. You can change your own body. So you do this. If I send you outside on a really, really hot day in the sun, with no shade, your body has a bunch of systems that will help to control your temperature. You will regulate your own body temperature. That's a regulator. Mammals are all regulators. So cats, dogs, pigs, horses, cows, bats, tigers, elephants, giraffes, dogs, foxes. What are some, keep naming mammals. Koala bears, pandas, lions, mountain lions. Pardon? Oh, okay. Pandas.
Can you go back to the
Llama.
tolerance? I didn't get the notes on that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, if that's okay, because actually I don't think I have the graphic in my photos. Sorry.
It's okay.
So one thing you can do when conditions push you out of this zone, push your body out of that zone, you can have systems in your body that push back and get you back into your green zone, get you back into your zone of maximum success. Your body does this. Your body operates most efficiently at just under 100 Fahrenheit, and if we push your body out of that zone, you're going to shiver or you're going to sweat or you're going to do something to get your body temperature back into that zone. The other thing you can do is you can let your body conditions change along with the environment, but then you have to do some other things. So you can either regulate your body conditions, or you can let them conform to the environment. And so, Brock, how many snakes do you have? Two. Okay. What do you have in their tanks? You have to have a. Okay. So you got, and very often called a hot rock, and it's like it's an electrified little rock. And do you very often find them curled up on it? Yes, because reptiles like snakes don't have those systems. They don't have those mechanisms to regulate their own body temperature, to keep it in their green zone. Their body temperature fluctuates along with the environment. And so on a very cold fall morning, so right now we've still got snakes that are still out and active. They haven't gone away for the winter yet. We'll talk about what they do in a little bit. But if you find a snake early in the morning, or if like if the hot rock in your snake's tank died, they would be really, really sluggish. They're cold. They kind of move like that. Everything is at about like half speed or less. They're really slow. Because their body temperature, all the systems in their body have slowed down now. As their body temperature drops, everything slows down. But their temperature just conforms to the environment. And lizards do this, and turtles do this, frogs do this, reptiles and amphibians. So those are the two big categories. When you're looking at your conditions versus the environment, you can either have internal systems to regulate, or you can just go with the flow. What's the cost of having an internal system to regulate? And I don't mean, $4.72.
If the weather changes, you could die.
Well, the big thing is it takes a lot of energy to regulate your own body temperature. If you want to lose weight, really, anybody here camp? Okay. Go hiking? Go for hikes in the woods? Okay. Have seen woods from the car? Okay, with trails. So I backpack, which is like camping, but you tie everything to your back and you just walk out into the woods and you walk for 5 miles and you set up camp, and then you walk another 5 miles and you set up camp. And you do this for a couple of days. It's a whole lot of fun if you're into a particular kind of nature-based torture. I love doing it, but at the end of 5 miles with 35 pounds on your back, you kind of hurt. And a friend of mine said, man, she loves winter backpacking. Go out, and I've winter backpacked plenty. Go out in February, go 5 miles with your 35-pound pack on your back. Do you know what you can eat when you're winter backpacking? Everything. You can have 3 chocolate bars and a half a pound of cheese for lunch. You can top it off with, a half pound of pasta for yourself, plus a chocolate bar, plus some hot cocoa, plus some more cheese, plus, maybe some dried beef, plus whatever else you darn well please for dinner. And you might still lose weight. You know why? Well, because your body is fighting the environment. We did one trip where at 4 o'clock in the afternoon it was 19 degrees. It was cold. We were up in the hills in Pennsylvania. It was cold. You can eat anything you darn well please and still lose weight because your body is working really, really hard. Imagine your body as a wood stove. Your body is piling on fuel to keep the temperature up. Guess what the fuel is? Fat. The fuel is fat and calories. So your body is throwing all the wood it can on the stove to keep your temperature in your green zone, to keep it in your happy range. So because you're a regulator, there's this cost in terms of energy. And even if we left you in a 98-degree room for the rest of your life, your body wouldn't have to do a single bit of work. Your body would not do any work whatsoever. You can either regulate, and there's a cost associated with it in terms of calories, or you can let nature take its course, let your body temperature fluctuate. There's no cost associated with that. On a daily basis, you're not maintaining the system, so there's no energy expenditure. But there is a cost. What would happen, Brock, if we stuck your snake in a tank with no hot rock for a long period of time in a cold room? Eventually they'd die. Because they don't have a way. Once their temperature starts falling out of the green zone, and it gets down into the orange, and it gets down into the red, and that snake is really on the verge of death, it's got no way to recover for itself. If it can't go someplace else, it's going to die. So there's a big cost associated when conditions change. You have the cost of upkeeping your system as it is, but the snake faces the risk of its life if it can't. Okay? So you can regulate or you can conform. Okay. Well, if you're regulating or conforming, there's one other option. Escape. Run away. Run away!
Scream and run.
Scream and run. Here we go. This is your other option, to escape. So even if you can regulate your temperature, maybe it costs too much from an energy standpoint to do that. Maybe there isn't enough energy available when you need to regulate your temperature. Let's take the humble groundhog. Just love Chuck. Little woodchuck there. Little old groundhog, you've all seen them, right? They're pretty common. Groundhogs, what do they eat?
Wood.
Grass, clover, dandelions, whatever's growing in your lawn. You very often see them along the edge of the road, just kind of mowing the grass. You could get an entire herd of groundhogs on tiny leashes and have them mow your grass for you. It would be kind of strange, but you could do it. So, groundhogs are regulators. They control their body temperature. But they need what to do that? What did we just say you need to control? You need energy. Yeah, you need food. Well, if they're eating grass and dandelions and stuff, in the depths of January, when they most need to be controlling their body temperature, what's the hardest to get? Their food source. Yeah. They can't go out and, their grass may be buried under 2 feet of snow. They can't necessarily go out and get calories to warm themselves up during the time when they would most need it. So their other option is escape. And they hibernate. We'll finish. Humans are another really good generalist species. Now, the last slide here and the last concept I want us to talk about before we come back tomorrow. Some species have tolerance ranges for everything that look more like this. Where their tolerance for any given parameter is really, really narrow. And they're really picky. I mean, like pickier than my husband. Pandas. I'll give you one example. Do you know what pandas eat?
Bamboo.
Bamboo. Do you know what else they eat?
Bamboo.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly. Bamboo. They can eat one thing. They only eat one thing. They live in water. They live in China, yeah. They live in one specific region. They eat one specific food. They reproduce like only every few years. The conditions under which they can successfully reproduce are very narrow. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.